Hey guys, this is Amy with Stick with the Plan, and today we're talking about the new norm. Stay right here, we'll get right into it. So glad you're with me. Now, I've heard it said so much lately, we need to get used to this new normal. And I was praying with our associate pastor, Billy, and he was telling me, he looked at me and said, Amy, it would be a tragedy for us to go back to normal. And that just struck me. I just loved that. I thought, that's right, I'm going to write that down. It would be a tragedy to go back to normal after this, after we've lived through a pandemic, after we've had our freedoms taken and been living in such restriction. And I thought, well, I don't want to go back to normal. And then I started thinking about some stories in the Bible. If you think about the three Hebrew children, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and this is Daniel 3, their government was requiring them to worship, the king wanted them to worship his golden image. When they hear the music, when you hear that flute, start worshiping. They said, no, we can't. We serve the one true God. So, that made the king angry. You're disobeying the law. So they had to go before him, and he tried to give him another chance. Why are you doing this? Why don't you bow? They said, we can't. We serve our God, and he is well able to deliver us. You know what happens. The king gets furious at them. He turns the furnace up 7 times. It kills the guards that were going to throw them in. But when they looked into that fiery furnace, there was a 4th man, and it was Jesus. He was in there with him. When they grabbed him out and they got the 3 Hebrew children out of that furnace, they said, the king Nebuchadnezzar goes, let me make a decree right now. We're going to serve the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I want everyone to fear him and worship him. And if you don't, it said, I'll cut you in pieces. I thought, wow, that was a total new norm. That kingdom did not go back to normal. No, they worship the true God now because of the tent situation that really more than a tragedy. I mean, their lives are on the line. They had to trust God, but it sent that whole kingdom into a new normal. And then if you think about Daniel, it's the same book, in chapter 6, there's another decree out by King Darius. And, he kind of gets tricked into signing it. He loves Daniel, but Daniel, is caught praying. He prays 3 times a day, and that's his custom. And, he wasn't shy about it. He opened up the windows. And they would say, oh, he is praying. He is not following the king's orders. So, Darius has to throw him into that den with the lions. When he was up all night, couldn't sleep. He didn't want anything to happen to Daniel. And when he runs down there and he yells, he says, Daniel, has your God delivered you? And, Daniel, yes, he has. He shut the mouth of the lions. So, and I love that because here again, when Daniel gets out, the king makes a new law, a new decree. Oh, we're going to worship Daniel's God. Everybody fear Daniel's God. That was a new normal. So through really intense, life-challenging situations, there can be a new normal. And in whole societies, whole kingdoms, whole governments can be turned to the Lord. I'm believing that for our country. I'm believing us to turn to the Lord through all this, that the Christians and the church and all of us who are believers in Jesus Christ, that we'll stand up, that people will say, hey, they weren't burned through this fire. They weren't hurt through this tragedy. And what's so cool about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, it said after they got pulled out of that furnace, they didn't smell like smoke, but then it went on to say they were promoted in the kingdom. The same with Daniel, said he prospered in that land. I think that's really going to show off our God and help people really turn their hearts to him and start serving him, because you as a believer, as a follower of Christ, you'll be promoted even in the midst of all this craziness. When everyone's drawing back, when other businesses have to close, the blessing of the Lord is upon you because you put your faith and trust in the Lord. My sister Jenny recently got a new job at a law firm, and she was thinking, oh my goodness, we're closing down. We'll just have to make it through this. And she said she got on a web seminar, and the man started saying as soon as they had to shut down because of this pandemic, he said, I begin to ask my employees, how are we going to double? And she said that changed everything. She started thinking, I can double my business through this. That's how we need to think. Whatever your hand sets forth to do, it should be blessed. It can prosper no matter the season that we're living in. The blessing of the Lord's on you. Come on, it's a new normal. Let's expect God to increase us so that we can reach out and bring in more people into the kingdom of God. The new normal is for us, and that's how we'll stick with the plans He has for us. Thanks for joining me and thanks for sharing this. You get this out to new people each and every week. We just love hearing your comments, your testimonies, your likes, your love. We're so grateful. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, like this page. We got a brand new one for you next week. And remember, every Tuesday at 10 a.m., we're live. I'll see you then.